Also this morning from the Abuja Network studio, we'll also be taking a look at the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu 1 year in office, and also looking at the challenges and the way forward. And joining me this morning to take a critical look at that is Gerard Kachi, a women rights activist. It's a pleasure to have you this morning.
Yeah, very good morning to you and to Nigerians.
Yeah. Let's say the gathering, listen to part of the discussion heard earlier on from our Benin Network studio right here. In line with that, I'm looking at it. Yesterday, people were talking about the introduction of the old national anthem back to the scheme of things. Besides that, people were talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu 1 year in office. A lot of people rolling out what they've been able to do, what the government has been able to do in the last 1 year. But why the ministers of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu were rolling out their achievement, can an average Nigerian say they're happy with their result? Coming from your perspective, what do you make of it?
Well, in the last 1 year, it has been a very thorough journey, for the Nigerian people. It has not been easy to say, the challenges are very enormous, and the indices on the street shows that we have more people going towards what do you call it, states of this state you get before you commit suicide. What do you call it?
The depression.
Depression. We have more Nigerians gone into depression as a result of challenges and economic policies of this present administration. The administration came on the matter of renewed hope agenda, and in this renewed hope agenda, they started reforms, economic reforms, and but these reforms have caused more hardship to Nigerians. We hope that at the end of these reforms, we have cause to smile.
At the end of this reform, we have cause to smile. One major thing that stood out yesterday was the introduction of the national anthem. And some people have opinion, is that their priority right now?
To me, it's not a priority. If you look at the anthem, it is believed that the anthem was composed by the colonialists, and the one we do away with. I don't think that our anthem has been our major problem to start with. But if we decide to go back to old ways of doing things, and we want to maybe start by with old national anthem, we should revert back to old ways of doing things. Old fuel pump price, old electricity price, old salaries and allowances of the National Assembly and others. We should go back to it. It's not just national anthem. We should look holistically all the things that comes with old national anthem and see how we can do it, and possibly even go into regional government.
When people are talking about 1 year in office, 1 day in office, and expectations and stuff like that, is it too early to ask for some measures of semblance of what?
No, it's not too early. This is a journey of 4 years, or tenureship of 4 years, and you have 1 year done and 3 years to go. And don't forget that in most cases, administration or performances are weighed on the first 3 years. The remaining 1 year is always
tangible could have been done within 1 year.
Oh yes, if you look at let's look at other governors that came on board with our president. If you look at their 1 year achievements, there are people you will give thumbs up. You look at the likes of Sanwo-Olu, you look at the likes of Elesoti, look at the likes of Zulum, you look at the likes of the Niger State Governor, Bago. You understand? You can give them thumbs up in their performance. You understand? With verifiable things they have done, that you can say, yes, within 1 year we are proud to have you, to be in charge of the state. You understand? So 1 year is big enough to do things that one can attest. Is it not within this 1 year that people have been in lamentation? This time last year, fuel we are being sold at 190 something naira, and now you can hardly get fuel at even less than 700 naira. You understand? Per average.
And a good unit, you are buying it for 850,
900, 1,000, as the case may be. You understand? So there have been a lot of changes that have not painted us in the positive light. In fact, one of the real challenges we have faced so far is our federal government of today, led by beloved President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you know, following the advice of the IMF and the World Bank. You know, I have not seen any serious government that cares for its people, that follow the advice, that don't end up, you know, doing things that in one way or the other have negative effect on the people they led.
When you talk about it, one of the major things that this government has also focused on is the taxation policy. And I've seen instances where so many major stakeholders have said you can't grow an economy by increasing the tax on people.
Never.
But this government seems to focus more on taxation.
And that is what is even plugging us to where we are. You see, if you look at top-ranking countries in the world, you will begin to make a comparative analysis with them. You see that most of those countries have a lot of ways where they absorb shock whenever they give out tax. Some of these shock could be in form of what do you call it, subsidy, you know, in transport, in energy, in power, in education, in health, etc., etc. You know, presently, which one can we hit our chest that as we are being taxed, that we are benefiting as a people? It's just as recent that we have the current administration, which is a thumbs up to them, they signing into law and making it to work. That is a student loan. But then the student loan is limited presently now for the federal government institutions. You understand? It has not even gone to the states or talk of the private. You understand? So if you make a comparative analysis of students benefiting, you will see that it's less than 30% of the Nigerian students. If you take away the state-owned high institutions and the private.
The student loan is not meant for everybody. I don't think it's only for the poor of the poor, it's the poor of the poorest. Because it's not some parents can be able to afford to pay their children's school fees without applying for loan. So when you say 30%, I think if you can get 30% student to access the loan, I think that's commensurate.
It's not commensurate, you know. If you go to exam and you score 30%, can you say that is commensurate?
But we can't get 100% student.
We are not looking at getting 100%. At least you get average. Average is up to 50% or more. You understand? From 50%, you can begin to talk of C. You can't go to exam and score 30% and hit your chest and say, yes, I've done very well.
Okay. But still going further, talking about the policy of this administration and how it has also affected the life of an average Nigerian. So many of this criticism have also traced some of the policies. We talked about the value of Naira.
Floating of Naira.
Yes, it comes down, it goes up again. Then the other basic things of life, people are complaining here and there. We've seen instances where the president said, please be patient with me. How long can the people be patient? 1 year after.
These are the questions, you see. And we have also seen the current administration make decision. I must give it to them because the current president is a listening president. You know, when you look at superior arguments, he tends to back down on some policies.
Like
yes. So, but then, if you look at it, we let us not be in a haste to always implement things that we look at on paper. It looks very beautiful, it looks good, but at the end of the day, the reality on ground does not conform with what it is anticipated or what is aimed at achieving. For example, the haste at removing fuel subsidy and the floating of the Naira, the results have shown, because before all these decisions we are taking, on paper, it looks beautiful.
Really nice.
You understand? In fact, at a point before the removal of fuel subsidy, we were told that fuel subsidy, the poor does not benefit from fuel subsidy, it's only the rich. But today, the results goes anti-clockwise from what is being pushed to the public. The people that suffer more by the removal of fuel subsidy are the poor. You understand? Now, the same thing was said about floating of the Naira. The same thing was said about the electricity tariff and so on and so forth. You understand? So I think it's time we look at what works for us. Let us drop this theoretical economic advice
because most policies don't work in Nigeria.
It doesn't work. We look at what works for us. You look at our environment. You understand? You must put effort towards that and forget about theoretical analysis, data analyzing that maybe those guys at the World Bank or IMF will come and give you, and to you on paper it looks beautiful. But by the time you implement, you see your people being in lamentation.
Still looking at it, now that you mentioned some of these things are introduced by government and policies and stuff like that, we must take a critical look at some of the policies that have been introduced by government. Some people have the opinion Tinubu administration policies have always benefited more of the elite than the common man.
Oh yes.
Going back to when he was governor of Lagos State down to the federal government.
Oh yes.
Right? You also agree.
Oh yes, I agree that completely. Even if there's anything more than 100%, because if you look at the past 1 year, what has happened? For example, some of the decisions that regards to the ruling class, say they want SUV, they want renovation of their apartments, you know, and all the. You see the speed of light that they used to do those things. But when it comes to things that benefit the masses,
the common man,
take for example minimum wage. You see them setting up.
They are dragging between 3,000 and 4,000.
If you're talking about dragging, they will first set up committee. But when it comes to maybe things that benefit the ruling class, they will not set up committees. But the ones that the masses will benefit, they will set up committees. And when they set up committees, arriving at a decision, because another thing
will take a long period of time.
And even when you eventually have a resolution, implementation becomes another thing. That as of today is very embarrassing to believe that there are states that are still struggling to pay minimum wage of 30,000 naira. You understand? This to tell you the kind of people we have as leaders. Because I believe any sincere and patriotic leader will not find it difficult to pay workers that have worked that deserve their earning. And that thing, just like the ongoing constitution amendment, if we can honestly and earnestly look in the direction of possible making the minimum wage to go across all levels, from executive to legislative to judiciary.
Cut across.
It shouldn't be only for the working people, and those that find themselves in elective position or appointed position will be going home every month with heavy salary, allowances, and other
we know that
packages.
People who happen to be in elective position always have perks of office, and that's what they benefit more. And those perks of offices are huge and enormous, and that's where some of our challenges are right now. We talked earlier on about the fact that when we are reverting back to the old national anthem, we should revert back to the some of the policies, some of the arrangements we had in probably regional government, or even merging our house of assembly together to reduce the cost of the governance. These are some of the things that a lot of people have talked about. But in the light of this and the way things are structured, is it possible to be able to revert to that kind of system?
Oh yes, it is. It is. If you look at the growing agitations from all regions in this country, there's hardly any region today that doesn't have one issue or the other, from security to economy to other aspects of our life. There's no region that is exempted, that you can hit your chest and say, okay, this region is doing fantastically well in this area. You understand? We all have challenges. As recent as few months ago, we saw attempt by secessionists to take over Oyo State government house. That will tell you that it's not issue of they have seen that this state is not working. You understand? You can't rob Peter to pay Paul. It doesn't work anywhere. You understand? You can't be, okay, for example, getting natural or mineral resources from a certain region and make it a national means of revenue generation, and you share it as a national thing. Then in certain areas, the same natural or mineral resources are being reserved for the state to mine. You know, you see, okay, for example, this is our current national anthem. Talks about justice. Talks about holding our flag without states. Can we honestly hit our chest and say, okay, there's justice in our nation? Can we honestly hit our chest and say, with regards to some of these things I've said, and say, okay, our flags are without stains? If nothing else, we can talk of, as recent as few years ago, we had answers. We know how we ended. as recent as this year alone, we have seen how people are being killed like they are not human beings. In Plateau, in Kaduna, and on some other places.
Yeah. Without
consequences. I mean, people, a serious government is supposed to do that. If a citizen's life is lost, there should be somebody hold accountable
for it.
Whether it's a minister or a director or head of agency or what have you, somebody should be held accountable for it. You see that you will not repeat himself. But it keeps happening and happening and happening, and you see everybody moving around as if nothing has happened. And to many, it doesn't matter because it has not gotten to them.
And that's
but it's a chain reaction.
Yeah.
Because in badges. If you have not gotten to you today, it will get to you tomorrow.
Exactly. Because if you keep quiet over an issue because it doesn't concern you,
certainly one day it will concern you. And you look for who will speak for you.
And nobody wants us
to for. So I think because we don't have consequences for bad behavior, we continue to see things keep repeating itself. At a point, it may get to a point that revolution may be an alternative. So I think the earlier we arrest the situation, now that we are reverted back to old national thing, we should revert back to regional government. Let each region do what works for it.
But
in Nigeria, we know some regions that are good with fishing. We know some regions that are good with farming. We know some regions that are good with different skills, trade and commerce.
But unfortunately, it's also our own people that also made it difficult for us to continue with the regional government. They are the one who came up with the idea. Let's cancel regional government. Let's go have a extra system of government. And now let's looking at what you just mentioned now. Let's take for instance something of recent, the state policing. We've talked about security issues. Let's go after state policing and stuff like that. The federal government come up with it. Okay, let's dialogue on this. How did it? Only few states turn up to be part of the discourse. On having the police. You see how people keep the food that we come out and say so many things. We want
that's where leadership comes in, and that is where honestly I give President Bola Ahmed Tinubu led administration so far, irrespective of the negative indices we have seen, very big thumbs up. You understand?
Yeah.
Especially with the recent decision by the Attorney General of the Federation, Minister of Justice, to file action against the governors with regards to autonomy to the local governments, which will give room to rapid development and progress for us. Because this joint account and what we have has not worked. So no matter how far we have gone in the wrong path, if we begin to take actions like this, it will make a lot of sense. Because I'm sure that this action of the federal government, maybe they have discussed it at FED or different fora, and maybe the governors are not yielding before they make it public or before they take such legal action. So when it comes to state policing, we should know everything that have advantage have disadvantage. If we see that is the way to go, forget about those that are coming on board and not coming on board. Go ahead and implement it. They should go ahead. If you look at some of the wonderful things that we have achieved as a nation from 1989 to date, not all of the things that people give support to, but at the long run they see that it's much more beneficial than the old ways, and there's no perfect situation or no perfect what do you call it, policy. There's always room for improvement. There's always room for amendment. Maybe at the cost of doing it and you discover that there are things that you need to amend, you do it. You must not wait until it's perfect.
It's not casting stone.
Yes, you understand. So I know one of some of the fears with regards to this is because of the imperial style of some governors. You understand, to abuse the powers given to them. But now there is ongoing constitutional amendment. This can be captured. Nomination of people that should be lead with regards to state policing, recruitment, mobilization, funding. These are some of the things they can look in constitutional amendment. And the immunity clause that the governors are enjoying that make them to look untouchable should be looked at. If you find one thing, there should be a way of bringing you to account for it. It shouldn't be that you wait for another 4 or 8 years until your tenure is over. By the time the event must have been over taken by event. You understand? Or maybe by the time there will be realignment of those that are supposed to prosecute you for wrongdoing. As we find ourselves today, Ribadu is the current NSA. When he was a EFCC chairman, there are a lot of persons that he was chasing after. Today they are pali because the political
alignment of political interest
have changed. You understand? So because he couldn't achieve what he set out to achieve then because of this immunity clause. You understand? As constitutional amendments is going on, they should look at all these things holistically and find a way to, you know, if we are sincere about progress. You understand? We should find a way to adjust some of these things. Certainly we will move forward. Okay. Well, because if those things are removed, because they are bottleneck, consequences for bad behavior, there will be enough ample time and the empowerment to implement them. Okay.
One other area I want to look at when we're talking about this President Bola Ahmed Tinubu 1 year in office, the incessant strike, protest, that was the hallmark of last administration. How is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu being able to handle some of these things?
I give him thumbs up, you know, because he has shown leadership in that area. Unlike the previous administration of President Mohamed Buhari, that you will see threats from the organized labor, and he will not do anything. Highest he can do, maybe send his minister for labor, that's in or send some federal government team to
I was never able to achieve anything.
You understand? At the end of the day, it will be log ahead. It will be,
and at the
end of the day, you see them. But oftentimes we have seen the president showing leadership that is in charge. You see that maybe negotiations not going the way that is anticipated. You see him coming up, inviting the organized labor leaders, having a one-on-one conversation. You see that he has abated a lot of things. You understand? He builds confidence. He shows that his accountable is reliable. It's not issue of maybe one person will say another thing, another federal government person will say another thing that we have seen as the hallmark of the previous administration. Where maybe Minister of Information there, Lai Mohammed will say another thing. Maybe another information will be coming up from another minister that contradicts what they have said already. But here we see that whenever there are issues that they are finding difficult to have a resolution, he will take charge and avert the situation. So I give him thumbs up in that regard. I think he has learned from his days as a Nadeko comrade and you know, being a good governor as a governor of Lagos State. So he has gained a lot of experience in engagement. Okay.
Another area I want us to look at that's been a major cankerworm that's eating deep into our society is the issue about the minimum wage. We know we talked about the earlier in the context. There has been a battle about what is the right thing for government to pay civil servants and stuff like that. And I have always been the opinion of the fact that no matter the amount of money they paid by government, it cannot solve the current situation people are going through right now. Because when you look at the price, no matter what they are trying to agree, government is saying 60,000 naira, government is saying 57, labor is saying this amount of money. And when you look at the cost of a bag of rice in the market, even the salary they are talking about cannot buy that. For somebody who's been involved with this and been following trends instead, do you think increasing the salary to maybe 400,000 like the labor leaders are coming for, are pushing for, will be the perfect solution to our problem?
Oh, yes.
Or bringing down the cost of living?
Oh yes, it goes either way. You understand? If you recall that in the last 1 year of this administration, virtually goods and services have increased to over 300%.
Yes.
Which is very, very astronomical in my own view. You understand? If maybe a tuber of yam as a last year, before the advent of this, before the coming on board of this administration, say tuber of yam is sold at 500 naira. As of today, even with 2,000 naira, you cannot get a good size of yam.
So you can imagine.
And if, as at then, we have minimum wage that are elapsed or expired at 30,000 naira, and suddenly you come on board and increase things, it is expected that you should follow suit with the wages.
Well, is 460,000 naira something achievable?
Why not? Why not if not?
Do you agree with labor that government?
Yes, completely. If you look at the challenges we are facing today, okay, for example, last November or thereabouts, either October or November, we had a private-driven company that produces cement. I think Boa,
yeah.
coming to tell Nigerians that a few weeks time they will be selling a bag of cement either 7.5 for them, about 5,000 naira.
Yeah, about 5,000, 4,000 something.
There about maybe 3,500.
3,500, yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
As at the same period, he said that he will sell it less. I think 3,500.
Yeah.
Yes, Memorial Summit. 3,500.
Yeah.
Instead of even maintaining 5,000 as at the time he mentioned 3,500, we saw the price going to 8,000-9,000 naira.
In the market.
In the market. So you have a good intention, but realities on ground does not support that.
Yeah.
I think if we have been critics like that, if we are not at the government, our government cannot be able to revert old ways of things.
Yeah.
They should ensure that the salary of workers should follow suit. By the way, one of the arguments that people put through is that can private sector be able to pay their workers the whatever the minimum wage that is arrived at? I say yes. If not completely yes. If as at last year a sachet of pure water is being sold at 10 naira, as at today they are selling 15 naira. That's to say they are adjusting to the new economic challenges.
Yeah.
You understand? So if as at just barely 1 year ago, in some area they are selling 5 naira, some area they are selling 10 naira, the case may be. But as of today, they are selling 50. That's to say they have adjusted to new economic challenges. So if you adjust, why can't you adjust with regard to prices?
Interesting right there. We've been talking with Honorable Gerard Kachi on to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu when you know the challenges and also the way forward right there. A whole lot of interesting angles to some of the challenges right there. But let's hope that the government listen and be able to provide solution and also improve the lot of the masses. I must say a big thank you to you for joining us this morning.
Gratitude.
Yeah. We will now link up with our Benin Network studio. I know Paul Steven is also standing by to take us through TMI socials right after this break.